Hey y'all, it's me again. I'm just checking to see if you can see me. I cannot see you right now. I'm just trying to figure this thing out. Okay, so I cannot see Facebook questions, but I have a sister friend of mine who is going to be using the Zoom credentials to see if she can come in through Zoom. But this is a test. This is the informational test because I'm going to give you some information. So here's the information. Now be sure to comment on Facebook. I can't see that right now. I can only see the Zoom part. And we're going to get all this worked out. But a brother texted me and asked me the following question while I was testing. So this is good. I have a question about the trial for the officer. They can't petition for a change of venue because this is everywhere. Can the defense argue that the past officer can't receive a fair trial anywhere? Yes. The defense, okay, great. The defense can say, hold on, let me get my sister here. Can you hear me, sister?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, so now you should be on live with me too. So if you don't want to be visualized, you got to turn off your video.
I know, but I turned it on purpose. I'm trying to see, make sure you can see what you need to see.
I sure appreciate you. Everybody, this is Dr. Kimberly King Garrett. This is my buddy, my sister, and she is the curator and creator of Love and Life. Did I say that right?
Yes, ma'am. You got
it. Love and Life on Facebook. It's a great space that allows women to be able to congregate and share what is on our mind in a way where we are not judged, we are not condemned. And so she is a live Facebook queen. And so I said that I would get a live Facebook queen who, and I keep pointing this way because this is where she is on my screen. She's
on your screen. Okay, I'm like, what?
So she is my my co-laborer and tester. So I have interrupted her day in order to try and get this straight.
Not interruption, it's a learning opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now I'm glad that I know I'm able to see you in Zoom. Then if I were to give this link and password to other people, then you would be able to respond in this chat. But if I wanted to see the questions on Facebook Live, I would have to go on my phone and mute the volume in order to see what is being asked or addressed. That's
let me see, can you see? I'm putting something in the chat to see if you can see this.
Okay. Meanwhile, yes, I can see that. Because the question is, can you see this? Yes, I can.
Perfect.
So.
Oh, goodness. I can see me on the Facebook.
You can see you on the book? Are you on the book?
Yeah, I can see me on Facebook.
Okay. Okay.
It's a slight delay. And now that I see myself on Facebook, I'm going to take myself off video because it is not what it looks like on my phone. That's
all right.
It's quite alarming.
You can actually log off because I do want to answer this question that someone texted me while we were testing.
Okay.
So thank you very much.
I can be of assistance to you.
Yes, I sure appreciate you. I will call you back later.
Bye now.
Yes, bye-bye. Thank you. Okay, so to answer the question that was texted to me, The question is, I'll say it again. The trial for the officer, they, meaning the defense, they may have problems petitioning for a change of venue. Can they argue that the past officer cannot receive fair trial anywhere? Yes, the answer to the question is yes. So what that means is that if I am the defense attorney and my client is Derek Chauvin or Chauvin, whatever his name is, and we talk and we say, okay, we cannot get a fair trial in Hennepin County because, you know, we feel that we're being prejudiced against or what have you. Then I, the attorney, can file a motion for a change of venue. And I could say that the persons who would be citizens of this particular county, they would be prejudiced automatically against me, and there would be no objectivity. So then I would try and argue that that motion in court. The prosecution would have their say about why the case should remain in the county, and then the judge will make a decision. So do I think there's going to be a motion filed for change of venue? Absolutely. Do I think that it is going to be granted? Absolutely not. Because of the fact that unless someone has not been engaged in any type of interaction with social media or other media platforms or news outlets, pretty much this picture and this video has been circulated around the globe. So there would be possibly the argument made by the prosecution that where can you go? You can't go anywhere. You are going to just might as well just chuck it up and have your case tried here. And when I say the prosecution would say that, I mean the Minnesota Attorney General. That is now the lead prosecution on this case. Okay. Like I said, I am blind right now. I'm just going to go ahead and talk, but I'm going to see if, let me turn off Do Not Disturb because I'm getting too many texts. I am going to try and see if I can go on live and see if I can see your comments. Let me turn this volume all the way down so I can see. Let's see. All righty, let's go, let's go, let's go. Oh, great. Okay, so actually what I'm doing is while I am on Zoom, I can actually see your questions. And so there's a time delay. So I am actually in the future. And by the time you catch up to me, it is my past. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do one more test to see if you can see what I am sharing to you. Okay. I'm going to share with you a screen and hopefully this will work because I do this in class, but I wanted to try and see if I can do it online. So just a quick little lesson. This is what I teach to all of my students in criminal law, is that every crime, mostly, please move this. This is not working. Okay, hold on. Let me stop the share. Let me try and share again because I'm gonna get this. Let's see. Okay, so let me go to Actus Reyes because that's what I want to talk about. I want to see if you can see this image that I'm showing you. And if you can see it, I want you in the Facebook comments to tell me that you can see it. Okay, because I actually can see this. Let me see if I can open this up. Move me and push on that. Can you all see me? Tell me if you can see me. Close and accept. All right, I need this to be a little smaller. Okay. This is not quite the way I want it because I actually downloaded the picture. Let me see if I can go back to the picture. I'm in this area over here. That's not what I want either. Okay. Well, you're just gonna have to put your good eyes on so you could see what I can see. I'm over here in this section to the right. And the part of the graphic says actus reus and mens rea constitute the physical and mental elements of a crime. So I will describe to you what the picture is. On the left-hand side is you have a person who is being stabbed in the heart, okay? And then you have on the right side, a person who is doing the stabbing. So on the left side, a person being stabbed, on the right side being the stabber. When you are talking about crime, every crime has at least two ingredients. The first ingredient, well, let me go back. When I mean ingredients, what I mean are elements. Ingredients are to recipes as elements are to crime. So for example, if you are baking a cake, this is definitely an example because I would not be baking one. But if you are baking a cake and the recipe calls for sugar, for eggs, for milk, and for cake batter, those are the ingredients in order to get to the outcome, which is a cake. If you do too much of any ingredient, or if you don't do enough, then you will not have a cake, or at least a very good cake. So let's say for this example, you do not put in eggs. You would not have a cake because the recipe asks for eggs, all right? So that is ingredients to a recipe. When you are talking about elements to a crime, in order for the prosecution to prevail, they need to be able to have all the ingredients or elements to a crime. If they cannot prove every element or every ingredient of a crime, then the law states that the person who is being charged is to be found not guilty, even if that person is guilty in real life. Guilty meaning you have all of the evidence. If the prosecution cannot prove every element or every ingredient beyond a reasonable doubt, then by law, no matter what we feel or what we believe, that person is to be acquitted. All right. So when we're talking about different crimes, we are talking about different elements or ingredients. So for crimes, use this to impress your friends. This is what I tell my students all the time. If you want to talk to somebody in Latin, I promise you, in 10 minutes, you're going to be ready if you don't already. Every crime has at least two main ingredients, one that is mandatory. The first is actus reus. So wherever you are, say the word with me, actus reus. That is a Latin term that means criminal activity, or what is the criminal action that is needed in to determine that there is to indicate that there's a crime. Okay, so actus reus is usually one of three things. I tell my students that it is usually, what am I doing with my hands? What am I doing with my mouth? What am I doing with my feet? Now that is not an exhaustive list, but that's where I start off. So for example, actus reus, what is the person doing with their hands? Are they touching something that shouldn't be touched? Are they placing their hands on someone without consent? Are they breaking into a window? Are they writing a threat? That's actus reus, criminal activity with your hands. With your mouth, how are you engaged in criminal activity? Are you giving a threat? Are you giving a command? Are you saying something that rises to the level of criminal activity? What are you doing with your feet? Are you somewhere that you shouldn't be? Are you trespassing? Are you running to the scene of a crime? Are you running away from the scene of a crime? All right, those are the three action points that I start with as it relates to criminal activity. So actus reus talks about the physical elements of a crime. So in this picture that you see, the actus reus, which is the action, is you have a stranger, I guess, who is taking his knife and he is stabbing somebody through the heart. That is the physical element of the crime. So if this crime were to be attempted murder, the first element, or one of the elements that the prosecution would have to prove, is that there was a knowingly, purposely, intentionally puncturing of someone's person with a knife, okay? That is the actus reus. The next element is mens rea. So wherever you are, I want you to say mens rea, okay? Mens rea. Mens rea is the mental element of the crime, the mental element. If you watch my live on Friday, you know that according to the Model Penal Code, which is a group of laws, well, not laws, but suggested laws or suggested information about criminality, it gives you 4 possible mental statuses. The first is purposeful or intentional. In Illinois, we call it intentional, but in the Model Penal Code, it's called purposeful. The second one after that is knowingly, know or should have known that if you did this, it was going to cause that. Then the next one that you have is recklessly, which means that you knew that a risk was out there when you was doing something and you ignored that risk. And then you have negligently, where you had a duty to be careful and you were not as careful. All right. So when we're talking about mens rea, whenever the prosecution is looking at evidence, they are looking to see what is the intention or what is the criminal mindset of the accused. Did they do it purposely or intentionally? Did they do it knowingly? Did they do it recklessly? Did they do it negligently? And so the amount of trouble that a person could get in or face in terms of punishment decreases the lower that you go. Purposely and intentionally are the highest. Knowingly is sometimes it's less punishment, sometimes it's the same. Recklessly is less punishment, and then negligently is generally the least amount of punishment. So when you put these things together, you are saying that in order to have a crime, most crimes have 2 elements at least: an actus reus, which is a criminal act, and the mens rea, which is the criminal intent. Now, there are some crimes where you do not need a criminal mindset. One of those crimes is as it relates to driving on a suspended or revoked license. Let's say in the state of Illinois, because that's the state where I am, that is what is called a strict liability crime, which means you don't have to know that your license is suspended. It means that if you are driving and your license is suspended, then you could face criminal prosecution by way of probation, supervision, conditional discharge, or a fine. If you continue to do it, then the severity increases. Say, for example, like today, I am looking across the street and I see my neighbor who is cutting his grass and he has his truck out. If his license is suspended and he decides he just wants to sit behind the wheel of a car and put his keys in the ignition, the state of Illinois says that that is actual physical control, which means they could technically arrest him and charge him with driving on a suspended license, even though his car has not gone anywhere. Okay, it's the same thing with driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. If you decide that you want to sleep it off and you put your keys in the ignition to turn on the air or to turn on the radio or to turn on the heat, and the police drive by, run your background, and they see that they believe you are engaged in driving while under the influence, even though you have not driven anywhere, they can charge you with under the influence because you are in actual physical control of your car. Now, of course, you can rebut that and say you did not go anywhere. The police did not see any probative signs to know that you were under the influence of alcohol, but they can certainly charge it, which is why there were people that were upset in that the former superintendent, what is his name? Now I can't think of his name. Eddie Johnson. You can leave it right there. Thank you very much. Thank you. The former superintendent, Eddie Johnson, Chicago Police Department, a lot of people were up in arms because of the fact that I can't speak for other people, I'll speak for me. When I have had clients who have pulled over and have just been trying to sleep it off, whatever it is, and their keys are in the ignition, the police, many of them will just arrest them and say, hey, you know what, your lawyer can argue that in criminal court. But for Eddie Johnson, he was allowed to drive himself home, even though we learned later that he arguably had ingested alcohol and a mixture of medication. All right. He has not been charged with anything as of yet, but that would be an example of actus reus. The actus reus is him driving. The mens rea is whether he purposely, whether he knowingly, whether he recklessly, or whether he intentionally tried to drive while under the influence of alcohol and drugs. All right, so in conclusion, there are at least 2 elements to pretty much every crime. There are some exceptions. In order for it to usually be criminal liability, there has to be at the very least a criminal action. There does not always have to be criminal intent, but there definitely has to be a criminal action, which is actus reus. And then you have a criminal mindset, which is mens rea. At some point in the future, I'm going to talk about what happens when the defense decides that they want to engage in a legal defense. 2 types of defenses. Defenses of justification and defenses of excuse. So that's your spoiler alert, because I'm not going to tell you right now, because this is all a test. I was just trying to see if you could listen, if you could watch, and since you're watching, why not drop some information along the way? Okay, so I don't see any questions in the Zoom, because I am looking at Facebook Live on my phone, but I am in Zoom. So thank you for being part of my test. I am working on my next episode, which will be regarding the murder of Breonna Taylor. I will let you know in advance when I am going to come online, and then I am also going to provide the Zoom ID and password. And don't worry, we are not going to be trolled, because one thing about being a professor, I am very used to teaching on Zoom. I was just trying to link it to social media, but don't you worry yourself none. No one is going to come into our virtual classroom without me knowing about it and handling it. Okay? All right, so you all be blessed. I am ending this live, and I will see you soon. Thank you to everybody who participated. If you could just put thumbs up or hearts letting me know that you were able to watch this entire thing. If you could do that, that would be great. So then I know what I need to improve upon. So if you are here, if you could hit some thumbs up, some hearts, hugs, laughs, wows, cries, or you being infuriated. That would be great. Just let me know something. Okay, so I can see Michelle. Hey, how you doing? Thank you so much. Pat Gandy, thank you. Okay, like I said, we're just trying to do things decently and in order. And now that you see it is a test, I will let you go. All right, you all have a good day and stay safe and use your voices wisely.